Welcome to Contra Gentiles Season 3, Episode 25.
Yes, 25.
Oh, cheers. Who do you like the margarita thing going on? Welcome to Contra Gentiles. I have to turn the audio from the stream down when I'm...
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like talking to myself in my ear. Oh, that's nice.
It is. Kirkland makes a great margarita mix.
I know they do. It's excellent.
Like one time when Matt was living with us, we tried various brands, like the more expensive ones, and Kirkland's was by far the best.
Oh yeah, there's no competition.
No,
probably.
there isn't.
Anyway, how you doing?
Good.
I really like that color of shirt.
Oh yeah.
The like it's like a warm navy. I don't know what that is. Anyway, blue-green almost. It's like a green or navy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess we should talk about the Trump rally.
Yes, yeah.
It was awesome.
Can't believe that was already a week ago.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great.
We were both shocked that Trump was going to be holding a rally here at all.
Oh, yeah.
We got the announcement in the text. Do you still get the text messages?
I do, yes. Yeah.
The text messages are so awesome. I don't even know where my phone is. But,
yeah.
Dang, I want my phone so I can read the text messages. But we went at, parking opened at 6 a.m. We were there at 5:50.
Yeah.
And then we stood for 6 hours. And then we went inside, and then we stood for 6 more hours. 7 more hours.
Yeah. Yeah, it was insane. The whole thing was just long. Yeah, I liked his energy. It was good. The whole.
Well, it was very 2016.
It was, yeah. Everybody in there was energized. I think it was a good time for him to start doing it. You know, considering all these wins with the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And so it just I don't know. The narrative is fitting very perfect.
Yeah, it is.
The way it's going right now, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to run again.
Because he hadn't announced he was going to run before that, right?
No, yeah.
And then he said something like...
He still was hinting at it.
He said, I think it's time to do for 4 more years.
I know, he did, yes.
He said that. He didn't say,
I'm
running, but he said it in any other way he could.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. I think it's good. I want him to. I know there's a lot of people right now that are horny for DeSantis, but
They can't be that horny.
Yeah.
For DeSantis.
I don't think DeSantis can ever draw that big of a crowd.
Yeah, that was 8,000 people?
Yeah.
Something. We did the math. It was 6,000 inside. Mm-hmm. Well, 5,000 plus.
Yeah, 5,000
plus a few hundred.
Yeah.
Up to 1,000.
More than a few hundred, but yeah. Because everybody that was standing there was like the entire part of the first part of the line, which is probably at minimum 500-600.
Yeah.
But I would guess it's a little bit more than that too. Because if you look behind you.
Yes, I wasn't even thinking that wouldn't be counting the floor.
Yes,
where we literally were.
Yeah, yeah.
It's at least a few hundred.
Yes, yeah.
And then who was standing? There were a bunch of people standing up at top too.
Oh yeah, but now people standing on top. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that they definitely filled capacity because every seat was taken, and then a lot of people standing. So if I were to guess, I think it was like 6,000 inside, and probably like another 1,000 or 2 outside. So it's anywhere between 7,000 to 8,000. Definitely we're at the rally,
which is weird for Anchorage.
I know. Yes. Yeah. He's still relevant, and so anybody that lives in places like Alaska, we only get irrelevant like musicians, people that are already dried up and, nobody cares about. And then they finally come to Alaska, but he's still like in it. He's still relevant, and so
it was weird.
Yeah, I think that's what's weird about it for us Alaskans. We don't get that.
Yeah, Sarah Palin was dressed like a Wasilla woman. If anybody's seen videos of Sarah Palin during that rally from last week where she's wearing the denim jacket and stuff. Yeah. She sounds like every woman in Wasilla. Sounds like she talks like a woman from Wasilla, Alaska. So she has the authentic seal of approval from Alaskans on an aesthetic level.
Yeah, yeah.
The weird thing for me was two things. I didn't realize that Mike Lindell was that popular, the MyPillow guy.
Right, yeah.
I didn't know that he had such command of a room.
Yeah.
Because anytime he would pop his head out in the stadium or whatever, people would just flip out.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
They just start randomly screaming. You're like, where's Mike Lindell now?
Yeah.
He was the best dressed one too, which I thought was cool.
Oh yeah, he was. I don't know, like
he seemed like a classy guy.
I've heard so much good things about him that part didn't surprise me. But
I guess I just didn't know.
Yeah. He has a very tight following because he is probably one of the most loyal people to Trump, as well as anybody that was that loves Trump.
He's kind of package deal.
Yeah,
he flies with him, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah, they're a good team. Like
I think it should be Trump and then VP.
Yeah, that'd be pretty amazing.
A Trump
actually.
Lindell ticket.
Yes,
just go balls to the wall.
You might as
Trump's
well.
not going to run again after that.
I know.
He'll be in his 80s.
Yeah, I think just take the risk, and he's crazy. He's crazy enough to do that. Yeah,
it really should be Lindell. Like I think it would.
Yes.
No more Mike Pence's. No more.
I know. The other thing that I did really realize there was how many Filipinos and Latinos in general.
Oh yeah, there were so many like Southeast Asians.
So many. They were the loudest ones.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They were the ones running around with flags and stuff.
Yeah.
Like Filipinos and like Thai ladies.
Yeah.
And like there were a bunch of like Mexican guys.
Yes.
Working class Mexican guys.
Yeah. I really do think I was actually discussing this over at the office, and there is I really think the Republican Party needs to capitalize on this sooner than later, because
the ethnic thing.
Yes, because what's going to end up happening is that many of us ethnic people who love Trump we don't really give a shit about the GOP.
Yeah.
And so the more that the GOP tries to push other people like DeSantis, it's a huge turnoff for us and be like, fuck you, GOP.
He's not even like Mexican. He's Italian.
I know. Yes, yeah.
At least pick like a Guatemalan guy,
something,
or a Cuban. He could be Cuban.
Or somebody as awesome as Trump. Somebody, because...
Isn't Ted Cruz Puerto Rican or something? Cuban,
he is. Yeah,
he's Cuban?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have Cuban, half white.
Okay, but still.
Yeah.
At least he's Cuban.
Yeah. And by white, I just mean Anglo.
No.
He's white. But anyways,
DeSantis needs to be like a...
No, because there's something... And so the best way that I could kind of describe it, the way I was describing people at the office was that when we look at somebody like DeSantis, we see somebody who is a difference in kind, where he's like a career academic.
Yeah.
Then right from academia, I think he went to Ivy League school. He went direct into working in politics. And that's where he kind of existed this entire time. Mm-hmm. And when we see Trump, we see a difference in degree, where he's obviously more wealthy than us, but he's just as machismo. Mm-hmm. Like we talked about in the last episode about how my mom like picked up her friend and ran through the border. There's a sense that the only way to stop us is you have to kill us.
Yeah.
And that's the same energy Trump has. It's like people all day long could tell him, stop tweeting, stop doing this. Yeah. Really, the only way to stop him is to kill him. Yeah. There's nothing that's
the only way to make Trump stop tweeting is to kill him.
Yes, there's nothing. He's not going to listen to somebody. He's going to keep on doing it. And so there's a relation there where we kind of get him. It's like, I understand your craziness. I understand that this kind of bravado that the other people don't have. And so we kind of tend to trust that he's going to make the proper decisions politically for the country, for people, and all that stuff, because that's where that sense of trust is. It isn't that you're trusting them as a friend, you're trusting them as a leader because they're much more relatable, and their difference in degree of where you see yourself leading a country, as opposed to someone like DeSantis. No matter how many times he says the right things and does the right things, it still seems robotic. It still seems pre-planned. It still seems very politician-y.
Yeah.
And then when you see Trump and Mike Lindell out there, they don't. Mike Lindell was like a former druggie, alcoholic,
crack addict, gambler, or something,
who started a multi-million-dollar business and goes out there with.
There's something about I see in him.
Yeah.
And other kind of both addicts that I know and people who got over it is there's kind of an obsessive success drive that you can redirect from drug addiction into extreme success in business or something. I don't know what to call it. I don't know if it's just an obsessive type A
I think
thing,
it is, yeah.
That if they touch drugs, they're gone forever. But if you can get them off and put them on the right track, they will become millionaires.
Yeah. And I do think there's an addictive personality that is geared towards that. And so drugs kind of hinder that kind of personality.
But they also
where someone like
consume
Trump,
it.
Yeah. And I think that's why Trump has been successful, because he has that addictive personality, but
he doesn't drink. He doesn't do drugs.
He doesn't do any of that. And so he never had to go through that stumble of the drug addict, but his brother did, who died. Yeah. And that's the reason why he never touched alcohol, because his older brother, who was just like him, got into it, and then he couldn't recover, and then he fucking killed him. Basically killed himself with alcohol. And so
that was a long time ago.
It was, yeah, and I think it really affected him a lot.
Yeah,
and so there's something there when I see Mike Lindell and Trump together. I don't see just two career politicians,
and they're friends.
Yeah. And that's the way that I think most Latinos who...
It's like two Roman emperors who are friends, or a Roman emperor.
Exactly. And then like some duke from within the empire or something. And it's awesome, and we get that, and we like it. And so the more that the GOP tries to go against Trump, I think the more division they're going to cause, because the ones who like Trump for those reasons are just going to resent the GOP for trying to push him out and replace him with a career politician.
Because people can see that.
They can,
They know, especially South Americans and
they
Central Americans.
Right.
They know.
Yeah.
When a regime is pushed on them.
And that's what
they know the scent.
Yeah. And that's what that's what it feels like. It feels like if you watch the Daily Wire, or you watch anybody in the GOP that's pushing someone like the DeSantis, that's what it feels like. It's like you're pushing something on us that we don't really want.
Yeah.
You know, and you manipulate some people and you convince some people, but overall, it's like the entire narrative that somehow Trump's tweets gets him to hot water or whatever. We just don't care. It's like,
they're funny.
They're funny.
And that's why they get him in hot water.
And because he doesn't stop.
I know.
Like, it's like, I don't want him to stop. And many people that support him are the same way. We don't want to. We don't care whether it gets bad press. We just don't want him to stop, because the moment he stops is the moment that we feel like, okay, he's not all there anymore.
Yeah.
He's not who he was. He's not who he claimed to have been.
Yeah, the amount of dunking he was doing on Lisa Murkowski.
I know.
Was just
I know.
That would have been
amazing.
Political suicide for anybody else.
Yeah. Right now with Elon Musk, he doesn't give a shit, and I love it.
Is he dunking on Elon Musk?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. And now, because in a rally he did, and then Elon Musk...
What did he say on the rally?
He said that he's a bullshit artist or something.
Oh, yes. He called it another bullshit artist.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. He started swearing. He was swearing a bunch.
Yeah, well, he was.
We'll hit him in the right. We'll hit him in the left. We'll hit him in the fucking center.
Everyone's like, yeah.
Everybody flips out. Yeah. It was weird being in a room of people that...
I know.
That energized towards one particular thing.
I know.
It was an enclosed space of 6,000 people.
Yeah.
It was not a big room for that many people.
Yeah, I know.
It's a big room, but it's an Alaskan university sport arena.
It's not going to be as big as what you find in other
No.
states.
But the entire thing was packed.
Yeah.
And he would say something and everyone just starts screaming.
I know, yeah. No, it was.
And then he would start talking again and everyone would go,
I know,
was insane.
I know.
There was when he was talking, no one was saying anything.
Yes, yeah.
And I've never been in a group of 100 people where that was the case.
I know. Yeah, me either. No, it's very unique. And it's like, when I speak to other people, like working at the office, nobody besides the boss is a Trump supporter. Yeah. All right. Nobody in there. And what the thing that I realized, like speaking to them, is that many of them use the same talking points of the left. Mm-hmm. Right. They all don't want to seem stupid, right? They all feel like if you're a Trump supporter, you're just somebody who follows what is it? What they call it? A cult of personality or whatever. And so they want to seem like they're above it. And so they want to promote.
They're not brainwashed like everyone else.
Yes. Yeah. And when you listen to that, you're like, you just don't get it then. It's like, these people are not brainwashed. Trump can lose his supporters. You know how he can lose his supporters? By not tweeting anymore, by seeming weak, by being a pussy. Yeah. I guarantee people like me will be like, I'm kind of done with him then. Yeah. If he showed that kind of weakness, it isn't that we are hypnotized by him and that we are just liking him regardless, is that he manifests a quality that we all desire. He manifests a quality of leadership that he has not backed down yet, and to this point has built so much trust in his supporters because he has not backed down.
No.
If he ever stopped doing those things, if he lets Elon Musk, just disrespect him that way, we will think.
What happened with the?
So what happened was, and so
was it this week?
It all happened this week. And so after he said that statement,
Elon Musk,
rally. Yeah, Elon Musk did a tweet about, something about negative about Trump again. And so then Trump posted a picture of him and Elon Musk when Trump was president. And then he said, I kind of want to find it, but the gist basically, he was saying that when I was president, Elon Musk came to me begging for money for his many ventures, for spaceships that go nowhere, for cars that can't go far enough, for whatever, just ripping on all of his business ventures. And I was like, we like that. I was like, good. Don't let anybody kind of bully you around. And so it's did you find it?
No, I'm looking for it.
Yeah.
Sloppy idiot Elon Musk. Did he say something about that?
Yeah.
He said sloppy idiot? Trump is currently... Oh, here, let me read it.
Yeah.
I found the tweet from... If Twitter lets me go to it. Trump is currently posting. When Elon Musk came to the White House asking me for help on all of his many subsidized projects, whether it's electric cars that don't go far enough, driverless cars that crash, or rocket ships to nowhere, without which subsidies he'd be worthless, and telling me how he was a big Trump fan and Republican, I could have said drop to your knees and beg, and he would have done it. Now Elon should focus on getting himself out of the Twitter mess because he could owe $44 billion for something that's perhaps worthless. Also, lots of competition for electric cars. Because what did he say during the rally? He was like, yeah, Elon said he never voted for a Republican.
Yeah.
He said he voted for me.
Yeah. Because he knew what Elon was doing. He's trying to distance himself away. Like, I never voted for Trump. And so yeah, that is a slight. He disrespected him. So of course he's gonna hit you. Trump never hits first. He always hits second, and I love that. And so he has been the most consistent, the most like honest, the most anything that that there are ways that he could lose his supporters. I know that there are, but and whatever people, advisors, everybody in the GOP tells him to do, that's what would make him lose support. Whenever Ben Shapiro says about how, I just wish he gets off of Twitter, but like, then
no,
you don't get it. You don't get it.
Ben Shapiro doesn't get a lot of things.
He doesn't. Yes. Yeah.
The weird thing for me was we were what? You could see the back of my head in the stream.
Yes.
We were so close to the podium.
Yeah.
We were like what, 15, 20 feet?
Yeah.
Probably 20, 18
yeah.
feet, 15 feet, 20. And I'm looking at Trump, and he'll say something like, and then we took out Soleimani or something. He'd like, and I'm like, wait, this is literally the guy that like did that. This is the guy that had, like Obama killed bin Laden. Who was the other guy that Trump?
Gaddafi. Oh, Obama
the ISIS guy.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
I don't remember his name, but whatever. He's talking about how he landed in Iraq or wherever. And he's like, and then I said, just kill the guy. And then they did. And I'm like, this is the guy. This is the guy that like nuked Soleimani in a car.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It's weird to be like, it's not like a meme or an online thing anymore. Like you're looking at the guy that did that in front of your face, like there.
That actually had, what was it, 3 Arab nations? What is that?
Saudi Arabia,
a
UAE.
peace accord with
it's Morocco, Egypt, and UAE,
with the Jews,
and then Saudi Arabia is about
with
to.
Israel. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing.
It's weird. It was because I mean I don't know if it's from being from Alaska and also being online. A lot and seeing everything like I'm interfacing all of this with a screen. And then standing there and like his facial expressions look exactly like they do on the phone. I know.
It was
but
bizarre,
I just kept having moments like he's like there.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I'm not watching this computer. He's actually right there.
Yeah, it was weird.
Same thing that he was the one that appointed. Like he even said in the in a campaign trail that he's going to appoint Supreme Court justices that's going to overturn Roe v. Wade. And he actually did. Yeah. You know, there's how many people? How many
he got
GOP?
Two or three.
Three.
Who were they?
Gorsuch.
Gorsuch was the one.
Yeah.
Okay, Gorsuch,
and
Kavanaugh,
Amy.
and then Coney Barrett. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just, you know, so many GOP members have been promising that for like 60 years.
I mean, 50, 60 years. Yeah.
And then it actually took this motherfucker to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And so
it happened.
It didn't happen, right?
Not while he was president, but
yes, exactly. But it still happened from the consequences of his actions.
Yeah.
And there was, you know, if you could ask me before 2016 if that would ever have happened, I would have been no. Yeah. There's absolutely no way. And so there's something to him that it isn't a hypnotization of a personality. Mm-hmm. Like his personality plays a huge role in it, but it's about the fact that he is the most consistent, that is the most honest, and he doesn't back down.
Yeah.
And that he delivers in the end what he said he's going to do. And so he's not a bullshitter. He's not a bullshit artist at all. He actually is the most coherent leader that we have had, probably
very long time
ever.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what's phenomenal about him.
Yeah.
And if the other members of the GOP, if other like lifelong Republicans who just really can't get behind him, if they don't understand that, it's like there's nothing. I don't think there's anything to help.
I wonder
them.
if it'll just be Trump and Biden again.
I know.
I don't think they'll run Biden.
I think they will.
You think they will?
Yeah.
You think they're too committed?
Yeah.
You think it would be breaking the fourth wall in a way for
them
to
so,
not?
Yeah. It'll be him, and then he'll beat him a second time. It'll be fine.
But Biden will win again?
No, I said
Trump's
going to,
Trump
will beat him a second time. Yeah, it's just, it was good. It was good seeing that. It was good seeing the energy. And that I hope that people in the end kind of realize that. Even if you're horny for DeSantis, not this time.
Yeah.
Just realize.
He's young.
Yeah, just realize that for right now, there's only been one president that has delivered in that way.
Yeah.
And to turn your back on that because of tweets, you're kind of stupid.
I know.
I mean, I don't mean to offend any of our
Decorum.
listeners. Yeah, who doesn't support Trump, but in the end, it's like why would that matter? Because it wasn't just the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Also, that was it was about gun laws. That if you're part of the GOP or you're Republican at all, you're going to say that that's extremely important. It's about, you know, that teacher who prayed
in Washington State.
Yeah. It was like these things are important victories that. If you don't realize that we've been losing for almost 100 years, you know, the more rational position has been losing for over 100 years, and he's actually winning. That's not the time to turn your back.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know whether DeSantis is simply using the platform to gain popularity. That once he gets into the office,
it's too much of a risk.
Right. It's too much of a risk. It's like I just don't know. He might be good, but no, I already know that this person has done that.
Yeah.
And so not to vote for him would just be ridiculous. It was like, no, we should be supporting the one person that actually made it. Yeah, the winner just made a difference. And now that his wife is dead, his marriage is legitimate. So it's beautiful.
What about his second wife? Did she die?
That never counted.
Why? Oh.
Yeah, because the first divorce was never legitimate.
Oh, so now you're kind of happy that she died?
I'm not happy she died. Yeah. I mean, I think
was she also Eastern European?
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
What about number two?
No, number two was an American. That was the shortest one. I think it only lasts like 5 years, something.
Okay. Yeah. Melania's been a long time.
Yeah, Melania's been a while now.
25 years or something.
Yeah, 2005, I think.
Oh, 2005. Okay, yeah, so 17 years.
17 years, yeah.
Still a long time. Mm-hmm. And he's old enough that it's like,
I know. Yeah.
Let her have that.
Yeah.
let her have the money.
Yeah. As long as he doesn't go with horse face anymore, you know.
Yeah. It's weird that he's not Catholic.
I know he should be.
It's just weird. It's weird dispositionally that he's not.
Yeah, I know. He just needs a good talking to. That's all. You know.
You just go 2,000 years.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Yeah, we just need to sit down with him.
Let's get him on the show. Let's get him on the show.
Yeah.
Let's get Trump on the show.
We'll convert him very easily.
Yeah. Maybe after this next term.
Yeah.
We'll get him on.
I know, it'll be good.
Yeah, he'll just sit there.
Somebody who has done that much good needs a little bit of...
I'll be like, hey, so you're a winner.
Yes.
Let's talk about winners.
Yes, yeah.
Awesome. Let's make a deal.
Yeah.
With God. We'll have a priest in the back. Right there.
He acts like a Catholic.
I know he does. It's weird that he's not.
I know.
It's just someone who's that dispositionally correct.
I know. Yeah.
The other one's Jordan Peterson. We have to get Jordan Peterson on.
Oh yeah.
Eventually, someday, he needs to just convert.
I know.
We'll just convert celebrity. Yeah. It'll be celebrity conversion. Instead of celebrity apprentice. We just bring a new.
Yes. Yeah.
And the whole point is people will take bets if they convert or not during the course of the episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be great.
That'd be awesome. The other one needs to go back is like Joe Rogan. The further he goes away from the church, the more stupid he becomes.
I know, he's annoying.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't dislike him even. Like I know. He's very just incorrect.
He is.
But he doesn't care. He doesn't care that he's not correct. Like
yeah, I agree.
He changes his mind so he's very womanly in that way.
Mm-hmm.
That he's just kind of convicted about this one thing, but then he'll have a guest on or whatever.
I know.
And then someone he respects will say something and be like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
And then totally change his mind.
Almost reminds me of Joe.
Okay.
It does.
Kind of a reflection of whoever's around.
Yeah, like Joe, also a former Catholic, and he's not really
Joe. Oh, that's right.
Joe Savage. Yeah.
I thought he was raised Lutheran or something.
No.
Oh, he said he didn't know. Or something.
Yeah, no, yeah, he was raised, Catholic.
His dad's Catholic.
And his mom.
And his mom?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. He received all the sacraments.
Extremely non-practicing then.
Yeah, extremely, yeah. No, his parents,
the sacraments?
I think his parents still go to Mass.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Well, that's obviously something Joe would not say to me. That's something he would never disclose.
Yeah. I thought that they still did. I know years ago they did, but when I first met him. But now, I think.
Well, they have so much going on.
I know. Yeah.
His dad's health is.
I know. Yeah.
All over the place. His mom's has some.
Yeah.
Heart issue now.
Right.
It's just.
But there is a similar character that I find in him and someone like Joe Rogan, where they're
the nicest people on earth.
Yes, they're nice, and their lifestyle is actually not incoherent with what the faith teaches.
Yes.
Right? Like
they're constantly self-sacrificial all the time.
Exactly.
Joe will do anything I ask.
Yes.
And I don't say that as like a...
I know.
As like a criticism, but it's literally if I need help with anything.
He doesn't even partake in the corporeal pleasures.
No.
He's a single guy. He's not fucking around. You look at Joe Rogan. He's not fucking around.
Yeah.
And you see these people as like, okay, well, what is it that's really holding them back? I honestly don't know. Maybe just apathy. They're
literally yes.
Yeah, there's just such a lack of care.
They're both Joes.
Yeah, they're both Joes. Yeah, it's like what's.
Would you want to have Joe on again? We should have Joe on to do an awkward theology discussion.
We should, yeah.
Where we just hammer him.
Yeah,
and then he gets. I want to have an awkward episode again. We haven't had like a contentious.
Yeah, we haven't.
Awkward recording in a while, except for. With Anne Marie, but that was more fun than anything.
Yeah, it was,
the righty tighty lefty loosey thing. But
we
really haven't had a
knockdown
drag out with anybody in a while.
I know. It'll be good.
Yeah, but
anyway, if we get a Mormon on, it could be interesting.
Yeah, get a Mormon on. I really am just curious because I haven't met a Mormon that.
Yeah.
No, it's suddenly I tweet I want a Mormon on the show. And now we have it in the works that we're gonna have a Mormon on.
Yeah.
No, I LDS. They don't like to be called Mormons anymore.
Oh, okay, Latter-day Saints.
Yeah,
because they're saints of the new order,
which I guess is coherent if they have a new.
No, that's what I mean.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. I rolled my eyes. I should take it back because it's actually kind of coherent. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
You've been using Twitter a lot more. It's kind of funny.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially these past. You're in the Catholic group chat. Well, so you have less to do, and you're in a hotel and stuff. And
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and this past week I had a few days that were spurts of busyness, but overall, was probably the slowest 2 weeks I had in a very long time.
Yeah.
So I had a little more time to like.
It's really funny is you'll be active in the group chat and I'm like texting you questions and you won't respond, but you're in the group chat and I'm like, just fucker, come on.
Oh yeah, because I'm doing that on the computer and I didn't look at the phone.
I know, but then I have to remember because I'm like, you're on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm asking you. This is serious business. Respond. Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty. I don't know. It's pretty interesting.
You kind of have a sense for, like, what's the word? Off-color posting, like inflammatory tweets.
Yeah,
because people send your tweets to group chats I'm in. They're like, holy shit.
Oh, do they?
You're very inflammatory on Twitter in a way that I think you're just untainted by or you've gone untainted by the kind of paranoia of being suspended and stuff, because everybody else who's been on Twitter for a long time just is like, that's kind of a thing. You learn the tricks of how to avoid it, and you just aren't initiated, and you just tweet the most insane inflammatory things. People are like, whoa.
Yeah,
I think it's refreshing to people.
Yeah. Because the way I'm also looking at it is I just have fun with it, and so if I do get completely banned, I'm just like,
well, yeah, the show is doing well without you on Twitter.
Yeah,
you could just do it for fun.
Yeah, basically. Hey,
and if you get banned, we get to talk about it on the show.
It's done. Yeah. Pretty much in the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah, I didn't know I was that inflammatory. I thought it was
you're pretty for
really?
Twitter. You're pretty.
Yeah. I thought it was
Let
pretty
me see
nice.
if I can look. Yeah, I just remember there have been moments where I'm like, whoa, Jeremy. Like, whoa, pull it back.
A lot of times my questions are sincere. It's like, I first have to ask, are you a troll? Because if you are, it's whatever. You keep doing your thing. I'm not going to engage then. But if you're not, and then it's worth engaging.
Yeah. You do like arguing though.
Oh, of course.
On Twitter, yeah.
Yeah. I like discussing.
I don't get tired of it either, but sometimes I just I think the medium has tired me out a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So I never get tired of discussing stuff ever.
Yeah.
But like the typing and replying and the typing and replying and the typing and replying, I'm just like, oh my god, it's so mediated that I just I've been exhausted for the last little bit. But.
Yeah, I don't like that they limit what I can type. Like that part bothers me the most. If I've just send a lot of strings of tweets. But yeah, it was like today it was just discussing. So I think it was Jay Legif posted something like a day or two ago that had a atheist.
Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah,
was someone replied that was
yeah.
Oh, that guy with long hair.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, you got in it with him, huh?
Oh yeah. It kind of ended once I made him admit that he does believe in a creator, and the creator is himself, and he thinks he is his own god.
Which is the proper.
Yeah.
That's the proper line of argument.
And he just stopped at that part, because I just said it. I was like, okay, well, that's not atheism. You believe.
Is it the Bib fee?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
It's a long stream.
Holy.
Yeah.
Wow. I'll have to read this letter. I'm just going to bookmark this. That is really long.
It is, yeah.
Oh, man. No, I'm saying that's the only logical conclusion one can reach. Any other conclusion would be easily questioned from position. Well, how do you know that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's towards the end.
Yeah.
How did it end again? I'm kind of curious.
I'm trying to see if I can skim it. You doubt your own existence, so of course you'd be skeptical of an external world, of any claims of patterns in reality and association to change. Does not necessitate that you finish he got bored.
Mm-hmm. I think in the end he also realized that he made a statement, because the entire time it says there is no creator, and then he used the terminology, we create our own meaning.
And so, okay, so you're the creator.
Yeah, so okay, then he didn't respond after that. I get it now. It's fine. You're the creator. You're your own God. It is what it is. Yeah. But that is ultimately, I think, the position that many atheists in the end have.
This is so hard to open.
So yeah, I mean, it's the one thing that I did notice. So prior to Twitter, the only kind of, I guess, online spats I ever got on was on YouTube.
YouTube comments?
Yeah.
You were a YouTube commenter?
Yeah.
Oh God.
And so like, you know, I would watch some of these atheist videos and then I'll respond and then piss a lot of atheists off, and then I would just have fun with it. And I don't know if this is a distinction in platform or this is a difference in
kind of people
or an age group.
Yeah.
But I would say the last time I kind of engaged was like around 2015, 2014 on YouTube. And the atheists back then were much more intelligent than the atheists on Twitter now. Like I've engaged with quite a few on Twitter, and every time I do, they can't even make the proper like Dawkins.
I wonder if
or
it's a
Harris
time
argument.
frame thing too.
It could be, yeah.
I would imagine that incorrect ideas
Yeah.
to remain not necessarily stable but consistent over time.
Yeah,
Or for the presence of incorrect ideas to kind of maintain over time, they do have to isolate themselves.
Yeah.
And I wonder if these communities of atheists online have had to isolate themselves for so long.
Yeah.
That they don't.
Yeah.
They don't know how to argue their own points anymore. Because Twitter algorithm's a big deal.
Okay.
You really only see things you care about.
Yeah.
I know that doesn't seem like that with the targeted ads and stuff, but the algorithms are quite sophisticated in what they show you. So if you interact with a certain kind of thing, or it does a very good job of constructing social circles that don't really see beyond themselves.
So
and everyone that's advertised me into like people you might know either follows me or is someone with whom I have like 50 mutuals.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So like I mutually follow 50 people that follow them or something, or like 70 people who follow them, which means that your social circles are very,
right.
It does a very good job of only showing you people, at least algorithmically, that you know, or that all of your friends are interacting with.
Okay.
Or if like all of your friends on Twitter are dunking on someone, it'll show you that because all of your friends are dunking on that person.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it is a possibility that they just got dumber.
I think they got less. They totally lost their ability to argue.
Yeah,
because YouTube comments are just YouTube comments. They're not
right.
Well, I guess now they've started to do a little bit of an algorithm of what they show when.
Yeah, but back then I don't think they did.
No.
Yeah.
This would have been long, like 10 years ago.
Yeah, because I used to watch a lot of what the atheists calls like rationality rules.
Yeah.
I used to watch them quite a bit just to see what their arguments are, because I'm always curious about oppositional arguments.
Well, I'd say that online Protestants have gotten dumber. Online Orthodox people have gotten dumber.
Yeah.
Online Catholics have gotten dumber. Like everybody's just gotten dumber.
Because they're just
I think it's because they're isolated.
Yeah.
I think it's like something about, the internet for a long time was like an established connection between, like, random levels of connection between everybody on Earth.
Yeah.
All the time. And you could just randomly meet people.
Right, yeah.
Because it wasn't arbitrated and there was no algorithm.
Yeah.
It's just if you could just happen to be looking at something at the same time as some random person across the planet.
Yeah.
And you happen to meet and make friends with this person or whatever.
Yeah.
But now it's like there's like a science to it that they've figured out.
Yeah.
About what to expose to you when. And it's based on your previous history in ways that you probably can't even understand. Like, it's extremely complex.
Yeah.
So there's no random clashing with people as in the degree there used to be.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like walking around in it's not, small town America was exposed to the world with the internet.
Right.
In a large part. But now it's like there's like a small town phenomenon occurring on the internet now in a different way.
I think that's probably the best way to describe it. Which would explain why they've reduced so much in intelligence. Yeah. Because it's...
Or just, argumentative ability.
Yeah, because it baffles me. They used to be much more quick. They were not very...
Well, they knew your arguments.
A little bit better, yeah.
Yeah.
Mine was always a little more sophisticated, so I could always get them. But
you went to school for it and stuff. Yeah,
like it took more effort, though.
Yeah.
This barely took effort to make him admit that he is his own God. It was like it was too easy. It was like, really, that's all it took. You know, it only took me like an hour and a half of my time, as opposed to before. You know, it would take like an all day thing. Like they would respond, then I see it, and then I would like respond back in long format, and it
that is like the thing. You know, it's like I never used to get in.
Yeah,
I can't imagine. You know, where does it say that in the Bible? Thing.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure 10 years ago people had more arguments than that.
Yeah.
Arguing with Protestants, they generally have positive and negative claims to make about Catholics or about God or whatever. But now it's just kind of where show me what verse you're talking about.
Yeah. I would say before it was more close to like what I experienced like with your mom or with what's his name? Bill. Yeah. Like that's more old fashioned Protestant thing that, I mean, they're
also not online. They're older.
Right. They're not exactly. And there is still that hint of where does it say in the Bible, but it isn't as stupid. It's like when
it's not as like reduced down
it is, and
to
yes.
just that.
But with these people, it's like there's nothing else that they can say. They could just keep saying, well, where does it say that in the Bible? Okay, you're not arguing.
Where does the Bible talk about you?
Yeah, yes. Where's the Bible talk about the Bible?
Yeah.
In the Gospel of John.
It's like you exist. The Bible doesn't talk about you. What does that have to do with?
Yeah.
You know,
it's so ridiculous. But yeah.
The Bible doesn't talk about iPhones. How do you use an iPhone? Right? Oh, you're using metaphor or allegory.
Yeah.
To. You know, when you're talking about iPhone, you're talking about communication. You're using allegory from the Bible to apply,
right?
You know, to develop systems of ethics about how you have to use your iPhone.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not literal.
I know.
Where does it say in the Bible to do that?
Yeah, it's an interesting world engaging people on Twitter.
It's a different internet.
It is.
Even than when I was like in high school, it's a different.
Yeah, that's like I'm talking about 2013,
10 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, it was different then than it is now.
No,
and
I've been out of high school almost 10 years.
That's crazy.
What have I done? Nothing. I have a podcast now.
Yeah, you've done things.
I go to a 10-year reunion. It was like, I'm a lawyer. I'm a doctor, and I'm like, I podcast. I have a podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's. I guess we could just kind of hard segue.
Yeah.
Into I guess maybe what will be the meat of the discussion.
Okay.
Is this? I mean, this directly has to do with Twitter, and I think how it's kind of came up.
Yeah.
There seems to be a misunderstanding of what metaphysics is.
Yes, yeah.
And what physics is,
mm-hmm.
and what economics is,
mm-hmm.
and what political theory is
mm-hmm.
in relation to each other in ways that they classically don't overlap.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say that there's necessarily a misunderstanding. I think that there is a natural consequence when you begin to deny God.
Yeah.
And so the issue... Just historically speaking, right? And so before we get into why I think it's why it's an issue, I think first, just historically, we have to analyze what really happened. So when you look at metaphysical studies back to ancient Greece, you had a study of trying to comprehend the grounding of reality.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was so much discussions that happened prior to, I guess, the development of more sophisticated metaphysics like Plato and Aristotle. Mm-hmm. That lasted for, I think it might have been 1,000 years, but anywhere between like 500 or 1,000 years, starting with the Milesians.
Like Thales and stuff?
Yeah, Thales, Anaximander, and Anaximenes. And
there's like 800 years or something.
I think it might be like
something
800,
like
yeah. There's a large part of history where it was first a rejection of what's his name? Who wrote all those stories? Homer, yeah. So it was a rejection of the Homeric tradition.
Which was philosophy through narrative.
Yeah, philosophy through narrative.
Purely narrative.
Yes, right. And so then it was attempted to investigate truth using logic and reason as opposed to narrative format. And the thing about it was the very first, what we call the father of Western philosophy, the Milesians, were nominalists. Mm-hmm. And so they attempted to discover what is fundamentally real.
Oh, it was only like 250 years.
Was it only 250 years? From Thales to
Thales
Aristotle?
was born around 623, and then
Yeah.
Aristotle was around 320.
Okay, so
300.
So like 300
Anyway,
years. Okay,
whatever.
And so Thales first posited that reality is fundamentally water, right?
Yeah.
And I know that kind of sounds silly right now, but he...
Well, it's de anima. If you want to hear more of that.
Right,
we covered
yes.
in the de anima
Yeah,
episode.
yeah, we did, yeah.
De anima, sorry.
And so it was the pursuit of trying to find a substance that they claimed is the primary substance of reality.
Mm-hmm.
And there was many discussions early on, and then you go to the the atomists, and then you have the what were they called? The fuck, I'm forgetting these names right now.
You're a professor.
But yeah, I know.
You should know this.
Yes. But it was the ones that looked at it mathematically.
Pythagoreans? No.
Yeah, Pythagoreans. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
I should be teaching
the Pythagoreans.
intro to philosophy, not you.
And then ultimately that came to like the Heraclitean and the Parmenidean
Clits.
conclusions, where Heraclitus essentially said that all things are fundamentally flux and change.
Yeah.
Many people attribute fire to him, but he actually was using fire as an allegory to show flux and change, because it's always in motion or whatever. There is no stagnant fire.
He wasn't saying it was literally fire.
Right. Yeah. And then when you look at Parmenides, Parmenides was saying that no, all things are illusory, and there's only a static state of being.
Mm-hmm.
And so fundamentally those 300 years of tradition led up to that point. It led up to that point
Mm-hmm.
where either something is a physical substance, a materialist point of view, or a dualistic point of view, where you have reality and then everything else is an illusion, right?
Yeah.
The material things are illusory. And then the synthesis of Plato, but ultimately Socrates, Plato, but ultimately the synthesis of Aristotle was to claim that dichotomy in itself is false, that we have to look at things more
Hylomorphically.
Yeah, hylomorphically, in depth and everything. So there was this.
That word apparently triggers people.
It does, yeah.
They're like, ugh!
Yeah, I know.
They're like, shut up! And they scream you down. In
Yeah,
the
yeah.
chats.
Do they really?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know.
I catch heat for saying hylomorphism.
Say it again. You catch heat?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. In the boys' chat, they make fun of me for it.
Mm.
It's because they don't know what they're talking about, but it's fine.
Oh, okay.
The boys is dumb. I'm kidding. I love them all.
Yes.
I would maybe die for all of them.
But and so metaphysics was the study of being, trying to comprehend what does it mean to be. And so when you had the Aristotelian kind of solution, I would say the Platonic, Socratic, and Aristotelian solution. I know there's differences, but I think ultimately
one wouldn't exist without the other.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it led up to an entire tradition with the Neoplatonists after Aristotle, and then the Scholastic movement, and so on and so forth. That fundamentally, those became
the Scholastic movement being like 1,200 years after.
Yes, yeah. This was the culmination of thought of trying to understand being. So when you reject God, when you reject the act of being, you actually end up going back to Thales. Mm-hmm. You end up going back to trying to comprehend reality nominalistically and trying to figure out, okay, then what is fundamentally real, right? And
you have to learn how to abstract again.
You do, yeah. And so what ended up happening historically is that you had this early modern period with Descartes, and then he became a dualist. He kind of tried to synthesize in a very strange Socratic way, but in his own Cartesian way. But it still was a rejection of Aristotelian and Scholastic thought. And then after that, once they built the dualism, the question then came about, well, which one is more real? Yeah. Right?
Which one's reality and which one's fake?
Yeah, which one's reality? Then again, it goes back to the Parmenidean problem, the problem of whether you have this, oneness of being that is real, and then everything is illusory,
static, and change is illusory.
Yes, yeah, or and then everything becomes illusory, and so that ends up being the discussion. And so what ended up happening, what we call like the humanistic period or Enlightenment period or whatever, was they settled on the idea that what is fundamentally real is material things. And so then the only thing that really exists that we can deem any kind of reason to would be human beings. And so man became the measurement of reality.
Which has been the case for...
It has, yeah.
When did beauty die?
I would say around the 1700s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So several hundred years ago.
Yeah. And so once humanism took form, I think the 1800s is normally Enlightenment, right? I could be wrong.
Late 17, early
18.
Yeah, I can look it up.
Yeah. So historically speaking, this is where it came that man became the measurement of truth. Man became the measurement of good, and man became the measurement of beauty. And so once man becomes the measurement, you no longer are concerned with being qua being. You're simply concerned with man being in the world.
Yeah, 17th and 18th century. So late 1600s to the
1700s. Okay. Yeah, and so basically you're just concerned with man being in the world. And then once that becomes the subject, everything that man holds valuable becomes metaphysical. Because there's no longer being qua being, there's only man's value. And so...
And the value that man can impart to others.
Exactly, the man can impart to it. And so what then became subject of talk? This is why political theory arose at this point in time. Because now if man is a measurement of things, we can measure what is valuable in politics, because politics no longer became a pragmatic means of distribution of wealth or whatever, or the distribution of power dynamics between
it necessarily
had to become something that is more fundamental rather than something that is an outspurt of moral theory.
Because without being, can you truly deduce anything?
You can deduce if your axiom is that the only thing that exists primarily is man and man's consciousness.
And because economics primarily concerns those, then it must be metaphysical, quote unquote.
Right. There has to be metaphysical statements with it, because man becomes the center. So like if you read Aquinas' political theory, if you will, most of it is applied, if you want to, like applied economics. It's applied law of how do you construct a society that is more coherent with church teaching and whatnot. That in the end becomes the theory. But when you don't have metaphysics prior to politics, it kind of is absorbed into metaphysics, because then there has to be
there's something has to be metaphysical.
Yes, yeah.
To make any value claim at all, there has to be metaphysics somewhere.
Right. Yes. And that's where like the big boom, that you find with political theories in the 16, 17, 1800s really come about. You wouldn't have John Locke if it were not for that shift. You would not have
he was
Hobbes.
born like 1632 or something.
You cannot have Hobbes, Lockean theory. You can't have Marxism. You can't have anything if you didn't have that shift, if you didn't have that shift of the death of God and then the rise of enlightenment, the rise of humanism. Because that's all that really exists. Then you're not concerned about the afterlife. You're not concerned about virtue in terms of what it does to your soul. You're only concerned in terms of virtue of what it does in effect to others. Right. So then virtue and morality simply becomes utilitarian, how we begin to interact with one another. And then you need a certain, I guess, ontological theory to justify that. And so that's where like ontological or metaphysical theories creep into.
But the only way that they arrive at those theories are based on like inductive observation of economic patterns in economics.
Yes. Yeah.
It seems very...
Some of it isn't, though. Like if you read Marx, a lot of it is a rejection of Hegelian thought.
I mean, Marx, especially the way that he describes the arc of history. I don't know if that's the phrase he used, but that's not reflective of history.
Yes, yeah. But it is a reflection of building a metaphysical reality based on it. And so it isn't merely observation. It becomes very abstract. When you read Marx, like the ideas of commodity is a very abstract notion.
Yeah, because it doesn't literally just mean product.
It doesn't, right? Yeah, it means a relation between the product and the consumer and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so there is like significant theories that are developed from this, but you have to first begin with that axiom. You have to begin with the axiom that
and the axioms are wrong.
Yes, that man is the measurement of things, and once you do that,
because I get an argument all the time that I'm like physics technically, classically, especially weird when I get in this argument with like Catholics who should understand better that physics is the study of being as subject to change.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah,
it's just
at least
the observation of matter.
Yes, yeah.
Over time to see how it changes in different ways.
Yeah.
And you can derive inductive claims and theories about the way the physical world operates.
Right, yeah.
But physics per se, correctly defined, will never tell you what it means for something to be good.
Yes.
It doesn't like necessarily say anything about that. But then when people say, well, actually it does, I don't know how to respond to that because I'm like, how do you? It just doesn't make sense to me that people would just not understand that.
Well, it's because in the end, when you no longer have the study of being qua being, then you only have the study
which is weird when
of
Catholics
things.
to me say stuff like that. That physics per se can derive truth, necessary truth.
Yeah,
and that doesn't make any sense because it's strange to me that someone with at least a cursory knowledge of properly ordered metaphysics and a proper understanding of being as it is at all. It's weird that they don't conceive.
I don't know what they specifically mean. Maybe they mean in terms of like natural law theory because that does derive from observation.
Yes.
But you need the metaphysical backing.
But it's still theory.
Yes, but you need the metaphysical backing to kind of justify most of.
Yes, and you can't get that from physics.
You can't just purely physics. No, you can't. Right. Yeah.
But I'm told regularly that yes, you can. Like no. Physics is the observation of being as subject to change.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes.
Same thing as like mathematics. You can only learn anything necessary about mathematics. Or from mathematics about mathematics. It doesn't tell you anything about virtue.
Right. Yes,
it just it doesn't. It's the same thing with physics. As you're studying physical matter is subject to change, and you can kind of figure out, you can kind of observe the natural qualities of a thing.
Yes.
Over time,
and then you could
you
could use the conclusions from physics to derive deeper, like meta-ethical claims of morality, like that. That's possible, but
like, well, just give me an example, just so I know what you're talking about.
I mean, you can't, for example, understanding the nature of sexual behavior. First, you need kind of observe what it means to fuck. Yeah. And then from there, you could observe or at least induce what is the proper way to fuck. Right. But you can't get there if you never observed these things. And so through observation.
But physics per se alone will not.
Right. Yes. Like again, you always need a larger picture. It's like physics is a solid discipline, is a discipline in itself.
Well, of course.
And from
properly
there,
understood for what it is.
Yes. But when you gain information from that and proper conclusions, you could utilize the conclusions as premises for other arguments for different disciplines.
It's hard for me to say conclusion. I guess inductive conclusions.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they're never necessary.
They attempt to.
But they're not necessary. But technically,
this is the problem.
Yes.
The problem is that when you have the axiom that everything is reducible down to matter, they end up making deductive arguments of material things.
But what I'm saying is that's wrong because I can see the sun set in the same spot 100 times. That per se does not tell me it's going to set somewhere else the next day. There's no necessary relation.
But many disciplines of physics is actually more closely related to like the Pythagoreans. Yeah. Where they're claiming that fundamentally reality is about equations, like when you look at quantum mechanics.
And then this is an input and a result.
Exactly. Yeah. So they are making like deductive arguments for that, but what normally lacks in many of their descriptions, it goes back to Aristotle where he says that there is no such thing as prime matter. Yeah. That when you try to make
matter partakes of something itself.
Yes. That it needs some kind of form.
Yeah.
And so when you're trying to observe and break down matter to its most fundamental principle, you get nothing. And so when you get nothing, you try to impart to that nothingness some kind of consistency. And then when you don't see the coherent consistency, you begin to elaborate infinite amount of worlds really to describe the inconsistencies of prime matter. And so there's complications that I think they fall into because they're trying to make matter into something more than it is. And so,
yes, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying if you see the sun set in the same spot 100 days in a row, that does not necessarily deductively mean that it won't set somewhere else the next day.
It doesn't, yes.
Yeah, and that's my problem with saying that physics per se can derive necessary truth in a deductive sense.
Yeah, and
because it can't.
And I think that's
because it's just repetition.
Yeah.
And just because something has repeated 100 times itself does not mean it won't repeat
in a different way
the next day or whatever.
Yeah.
Alone.
Yeah.
I'm not saying physics is stupid. I'm not saying it's useless. We wouldn't have the MacBook I'm looking at without physics. I get it.
Yeah.
But it's not as big of a deal as people make it out to be.
It's not an isolated thing.
No.
And I think that's what they're trying to make it, right? They're trying to make it as an isolated subject that in itself
and same with economics.
Kind of could explain everything.
Yeah.
Right. And so and so
I think the reason I'm known for openly hating economics.
Yeah.
And I think what it is I openly hate what people have made economics into.
Yeah.
They're talking about trying to devise the perfect economic system to encapsulate proper understandings of virtue and vice, and then if we can do that, we'll manifest heaven on earth. Stuff. Stuff like that.
Like the anarchists also do.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. It's just silly.
I'm sorry, the anarchists.
What? Yeah. The consensualists.
Yeah,
Can that be our term?
Yeah, I just use consensualism.
So we are officially on Contra Gentiles are only referring to contemporary anarchists as consensualists.
Yes, yeah.
Because they're not anarchists.
Yes,
technically speaking.
Yeah. So I've been using it on Twitter now. So you mean consensualism?
Yeah.
And then I'm putting quotates the so-called.
Well, then they
anarchists.
can have their own word. It's a new thing.
I know that's what it is, which I'm fine with.
No, they get to have their own thing.
I know. And now we could discuss.
Anarchists love having their own thing.
Yes, I know. Then we could discuss whether consent is a proper, I guess
measure of morality.
Measure of a good economical theory.
Yeah.
Or political theory, I guess. It's not just economics for the consensualists, but it's a political theory, right?
Yeah.
And so it's okay, well, there's, we could discuss that. That's worth discussing, I think. But when they try to,
so let's do this for libertarians, because libertarians don't understand the liberty.
Yeah, they don't. Yes.
So what are the libertarians?
Oh, they should be. It's like licentiousness. So how
it
can
is
we,
licentiousness.
Yes, so how can we make that
libertinists?
No, it will be licentiousism.
Licencism.
Licencism. Yes.
Licensists and consensualists.
Consensualists, yes.
Because libertarians don't know what liberty is.
It isn't, yeah.
So that you ought do something.
Yeah.
They just want to do whatever they want. That no one should ever tell them what to do.
Yes, yeah.
They're just two schools of...
It is, yeah.
I should consent to everything good.
Yeah.
Everything good is something that I personally would consent to.
Yes, yeah.
But then libertarians are even squishier than that. Yeah. So listen. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. No, but
permitists?
Permitist? Oh, yeah, that could be
permitists.
Good. Yeah.
Because you permit things.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll have to come up with some...
Valuists?
Consensualist is too good, but it really has to do with anarchists. Libertarians are a little more...
Yeah, but not to go into too big of a tangent, but
we're really anti-libertarian. You're not making anybody mad. Everybody knows.
Yeah. Okay, good. No, but with the consensualist ideology, the main issue that I really do have is that they impose ideas as if you just ought to accept it, like the non-aggression principle, and yet they never
that's
back.
Anarchists.
Right, they're consensualists.
Yeah, I can say that.
Yeah, so it's like you talk
You're
to them.
training me now.
And so like you talk to them, and then you just ask the question, why should I accept that?
Yeah.
Right? Why is aggression inherently evil? And then they have, no, by non-aggression principle, I have this very, very, very specific definition of aggression. Or it's like, then that's not merely aggression. You have to come up with a different term, because when you use this term aggression, what ends up happening, and so whenever you talk to a consensualist, whenever you bring in a counterfactual, they could somehow tie it in to what they're saying, because there is no concrete, consistent comprehension of this term, and so
whatever makes them feel aggressed.
Right. It's whatever they can say at that point to kind of defend their position.
Yeah.
And so there's the consensualist ideas are just very broken because it commits the fallacy. The correct fallacy is the fallacy of amphibole.
Amphibole?
Yeah, amphibole.
Okay.
Because the propositions are so vague that it can be interpreted by the listener or the reader to various degrees. And so that's not a coherent argument. It's the same reason why you're like
not even the ideas can aggress against you.
They can, yes, because it could literally be anything, and it gets very annoying when you talk to them. Well, is this aggression? Well, yeah, but you just said that there's a specific definition of aggression, right? And so then you're just like, well, how is, if you're a consensualist, how are you going to impose this, political reality to these people? Are you just going to like hug them? I mean, what are you going to do? You're not going to use violence to overthrow a government? They would, but
that wouldn't be aggressive, because
the
government already aggressed against them.
Yes, and so this is why that it's a fallacy of amphibole, because they could literally make anything up. They could say, at this point, this is not aggression, because now aggression means this, but at this point it is aggression. It's like, you're not meaning this.
Aggression doesn't mean anything.
Yes, we have to come up with specific terms in order to speak coherently. If we don't, we fall into horrible fallacies. And when you start spelling it out in just a syntactical way, like you don't even have to get into the semantics yet. You just construct their argument syntactically. They commit so many formal fallacies that it's incoherent. It's like you're not meaning anything anymore. You're not even saying anything. It is like, there was this.
But it's very aggressive of you to assume that they have to say anything at all.
Yes, you're aggressing. It's ridiculous. And so the consensualist theory just has so many of those flaws.
It assures moral superiority.
It does.
In any circumstance.
Yep. Yeah. And that the only way towards any kind of coherent moral theory for them is that you consent.
Yeah.
And yet that term will mean in various different ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because then
babies can't consent to anything. How do they do anything moral?
And then they say, well, you with a consensual contract, you could simply break it and you walk away, right? And then you think to yourself, yeah, but you could do that. You could leave a country, right? Like you
can do that.
Yeah,
go.
You get on a plane and you go.
Yeah.
You want to live free from government law. There's people that literally live like hermits in the woods.
Yeah.
You don't.
The government doesn't mess with them.
They don't. You don't have to live under their rule. You are consenting every day that you are simply existing
in your house,
in your apartment, that the government that existed prior.
Well, I should have everything I want.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah,
and own.
That's why in the end,
I should be able to talk to all of my internet friends.
Yes, yeah.
But I'm mad at the government.
Yeah, the government allowed all of this to happen.
The government has anything to say about it.
Yeah. That's why in the tweet I just said that it's like babies. When I speak to consensualists,
what are you talking? Just your thread you had?
Yeah, one of them I think I just posted on there. So somebody wrote a comment. I just said, when you talk to consensualists, it's really like debating with a baby. Essentially, they're just a bunch of babies. They're like, wow, didn't consent. Wow, and it's like you're not. They're so vapid because in the end, all it is like this tantrum that they're throwing. They're throwing a tantrum because because they're losers in the end, right? Mm-hmm. Like every consensualist fundamentally is a loser. He's somebody who is not economically well-to-do. They're somebody who is just a worker. There's somebody that can't get ahead. There's somebody that doesn't have the skills and the potency to become great. And so they bitch and moan that they're losers. and so they blame a system that they keep claiming they didn't consent to, that holds them down. But in reality, if you take them and say, fine, you don't want to live in the system, go out in the woods and start your own, they will die within a week because they're losers. That's all they are. And so they're whiny baby losers that can't get ahead, and they can't use systems to really get ahead. And that if you just give them the freedom to simply exist in the wild with each other, in the end, they will all just die.
Or form a state.
I don't think they can. I think people who ascribe to consensualism tend to be too much of a loser to even form a state, because then we say, "Well, I'm not consenting to that. Well, I'm not consenting to that. Why that? I'm going to start with this person. Like, I don't like all those ideas.
They're all just growing their own one potato plant.
They are, yes, yeah.
They live in a little
they just end up dying.
1-person tent.
Yes, yeah.
They're all like 10 feet away from each other.
Yes, yeah.
And completely
this is my
rejecting
property.
any cooperation they could.
Yeah, because they don't comprehend.
But they don't. Well, they also then their retort here would be, well, it would be consensual, what they would say anarchical for me and this guy to agree to do this thing. So, well, you're ruling over yourselves.
Exactly, yeah.
You formed a little mini government of two people.
Yeah, at that point now you have rulers, which is you two, and you have rules, which is the rules in which you two consented into.
Yeah.
And so the moment that you begin to make it, that's
rulers
why,
make rules.
Yes, that's why I say this. It's never anarchy. So even if we could just eradicate the anarchy principles and say now you're living in a society of consensualism, you still in the end will never make it ahead because people cannot fully agree on things.
No,
it's not the way that it is. No. And if you're not aggressive,
technically
you will die. Yeah. That is reality. And everybody who are consensualists, self-ascribed anarchists, I have never met one who didn't grow up in a house.
Of course.
Right? I honestly haven't. Like if I ever met one, they had parents, they had a house, the parents had jobs, they always had food, they weren't homeless. I have never met an actual consensualist who had to do something in reality. And everything was always given to them. And so that's why when I say they're losers, I mean that they can't survive. They can't hack it in reality, right? They can't be like my crazy mom who runs through the fucking desert to cross a border while being 89 pounds with somebody on her back. They can't do that because that takes aggression. That takes a fuck you.
But they would just not call it, that's not aggression.
Oh, it is.
I know, but they would just say that.
Yeah. And
then, that's not aggression. Okay, well then aggression is nothing.
And then on top of that, none of them ever started businesses. They don't know what competition is. That things are not this happy-go-lucky mutual exchange of goods and services for money. Is that you hold things hostage
Schoolhouse Rock.
For money. Yes, yeah.
Schoolhouse
like
Rock.
The way that they think of reality. And so if you were to literally say, let's abolish the government, now you exist, you know what's going to happen? The first thing is
consensualists all die.
Yes, they all die.
Or become enslaved. Or no longer be a consensualist.
Yes, because they can't
abandon their
because they would have to, because the basic principle of interaction with reality is control, is dominance.
What do you think of Christian anarchy? That's a ridiculous thing.
It only exists within a Protestant sphere because Protestantism rejects hierarchy. And so as a Protestant, one can be a consensualist.
You literally cannot be a Catholic and be anarchist.
You can't.
Because the Pope exists.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, you can't.
It's just not anarchy.
Yeah, there's a structure, there's a catechism, there's rules, there's things that
literally a Pope. I mean, it's just, you don't have to say any of the rest of the stuff.
Yes, yeah.
You just say there's a Pope.
Yeah, so yeah, you can't be. But as a Protestant, I think many Protestants are anarchical because when you see the way that they exist, they
reject all rulers.
Nothing. There's many of them that don't even go to any kind of
church
because they just think that they could just read the Bible and that'll be good enough.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's really the only way that one can claim to be that. But then that's why I said they're not really Christian anarchists at that point. They're Protestant consensualists.
We're just inventing new terms. This is a parade of new terminology.
Yes.
Protestant consensualist.
Because it is more accurate.
Yes, you know, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And it's ridiculous. And so when you discuss with these people, it's
what
like,
about consensual heretics?
that could be a good one. Yeah, consensual heretics.
People might not know what you're talking about, so Protestant consensualists might be better. But
Yeah, but yeah, there's no such thing as a Christian anarchist.
yeah.
That doesn't exist.
I know, it's such a silly label.
It refers to nothing.
You know, that was probably the tweet I've gotten the most heat about was the
Yeah, a
Christianity
lot of
and
interaction.
anarchism. At the Trump rally, a lot of your time in the last half of our standing in line for the hours was you just talking back.
It was
and forth
helpful.
with random people.
Yeah, my feet was hurting, and so it's like this makes life
something for you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, the Catholic group chat just caught my attention, but
Oh, okay.
I wanted to see what that. Yeah, it's like I looked down. I'm like, ugh, 150 replies. Like, ugh, I don't want to hear what any of these people have to say. I'm right. I don't have anything else to say to you at all. I just remembered like Christianity is anarchy.
Oh my gosh, I know.
God, dude.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Stop talking. So dumb. Ugh. Oh my God, now I'm looking at British breakfast food. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start challenging people to there's 128 replies.
Wow, for the British breakfast food one?
No.
Oh.
No, for the Christianity and anarchism are compatible.
Wow.
But no, I just really, really love British
breakfast. It looks good.
It's so, but it's almost no carbs.
I know, which is good.
It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah.
I might do that tomorrow. I can't find it's so.
It was nice to see the origin because after you told me about it, I just kind of looked it up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Where even we're the culinary.
Yeah.
We're the best.
Yes. Yeah.
But our tradition is one
it's
definitely
very
from the
England.
UK.
Oh yeah.
That's why our American, our dinner food.
Yeah.
The best is always regional specific.
Yes.
Cajun food or Tex-Mex
food.
food.
Right. Yes.
Or different regional. Because those are our favorites.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Tex-Mex and would you say? I think
for American
those are the official American foods of Continentalize or Tex-Mex and Cajun.
Cajun. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to make you guys jambalaya sometime.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I mix. Yeah. But anyway.
No, that'd be good.
I have the Acadiana seal of approval. My jambalaya and my gumbo. But the universal cuisine of the U.S. is breakfast.
Yes, yeah.
The British do it.
They do, yeah.
Apparently.
I never knew that.
But not a lot of other cultures in the world have a
don't.
meal for breakfast because you have to get up early to make it.
Yes, yeah.
It's not just leftovers.
Yeah.
Like East Asia, they just do leftovers.
Yeah, Peru, that's a lot of times it's leftovers. Yeah.
You know, like all of Europe is
bread and cheese
or
and
some cold cuts.
Yep, yeah.
Which can be good.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's not the same thing.
And so Peru adopted a lot of the European ideas. And so for breakfast, either you eat cheese with coffee and bread, or you have leftovers from the night before and you just fry it up.
Which I think is healthier.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
It's good.
But
well, if you eat breakfast and you just don't eat the rest of the day, it's fine.
Oh, yeah, But the proteins that you get in the American breakfast is amazing.
Oh, yes. But you look at an American breakfast and you have bacon and sausage and eggs and hash browns and pancakes and just this spread of stuff.
Yes.
It is... The DNA is 100% in
England,
in the UK.
And I never knew that.
Yeah.
I learned that just this past week when you told me about it.
It's much more protein heavy. It's much less carby. I mean, there's toast. It's not toast. You fry it. You fry the bread.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah, you fry the bread in oil on a pan. You don't toast it.
I didn't know the Brits did that because most South Americans fry bread.
Yeah, instead of toasting it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very, very common.
Yeah, well, it's
even Central Americans.
It's technically what you're supposed to do for a full English breakfast. It's not. Not every people toast it, whatever.
Yeah,
but you're supposed to fry it.
So good.
And then potatoes of some kind.
Yeah,
I like the cheap, shitty preformed hash brown. You throw it in a pan with oil, fry it on both sides.
Yeah.
That so the Heinz beans. I'm obsessed. Everybody online who knows me knows I'm obsessed with these Heinz baked beans. They were. I don't remember what it was, but it was like, so Heinz started making baked beans as we know them are like a New England thing.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so whether they're made with brown sugar or molasses is kind of a regional thing, but just that style of baked beans is
like Bush's.
That's a new. Well, that hails from a New England.
Yeah.
So that's a New England thing.
Mm-hmm.
They introduced it to the UK in like the late 1880s or something.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
And now it's like 2.5 million cans of Heinz baked beans are sold per day in the UK.
Really?
These people eat so many beans. Like Marcus, I keep mentioning him, but he's British, and we keep coming back to it. But he like opens his cabinet, he's got like 8 cans of Heinz baked beans.
Yeah.
Everybody has beans all the time.
That's awesome.
And I'm just like obsessed with these because they're in like a light tomato sauce. It's not super sweet.
Yeah, I want to try it.
I have cans at my house.
Okay,
they're like $4.50 a can here.
Yeah. Oh,
they're 3 or 4 times as expensive as they're in the UK because they're made in the UK now.
Yeah.
Because they wanted them and the US just didn't care about them anymore. But a long time ago. But they sell them at like Fred Meyer in the ethnic foods. I love that Fred Meyer still says ethnic foods section.
Yeah.
It's still a section. They still call
East
it
Coast listeners as Kroger. But
most of the country.
Yeah.
Fred Meyer is Oregon, Montana,
West.
Washington, Idaho, and Alaska.
Yeah.
It's North Pacific, Northwest.
Pacific. Okay. Yeah.
I don't think they have them in Colorado. Like I think they're.
Yeah. Okay.
They started in Oregon.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm just like obsessed with these beans and like eating. And I'm like, wow, I'm obsessed with a British food. So really love mushy peas. Can you imagine that they have a dish they call mushy peas?
Do they?
Yes. It's a food I really like. They're like a mash of like peas.
Yeah.
And like seasoned. But mushy peas.
Yeah.
It's like I live in an old folks home. I mean, the UK is a giant old folks home.
Yeah.
Really. But
yeah, so they have at least they have good breakfast. Like yeah, but British food, I've eaten other ones, but I've never
fish
eaten
and chips is great, but it's like a drunk food.
It is, right? Yeah, it isn't bad.
They do doner kebabs just like everybody else does. I mean, there's still
but that's Turkish, but
yes, but there's still a bunch of
like they have ethnic food in England, but what I mean is like what's traditionally British food tends not to be that flavorful. Yeah. But that being traditionally British food, I just find astonishing. I was like, wow, that is like
they still get it.
They still get it, yes. Yeah. At least they get it in breakfast, right?
Which is where traditionally American food gets it also.
It is, yeah. It's amazing. But then since the U.S. is such a hodgepodge of shit, we got
now it is especially
hamburgers like from
Germany.
Germans, yeah.
Did I tell you what the one food that doesn't have any roots outside the U.S. is? I told you.
Which one?
There's one food in American cuisine that has no roots outside of.
I don't know which one it is.
It's chili.
That's right. Yeah. You did tell me that. Yeah.
It's the only American food.
That's good.
It developed in the Southwest.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was Mexico.
Right, but Mexicans do not make beans like that at all.
No. Yeah, but I'm saying like technically territory-wise, it was Mexico, and then it was independent, and then it was Texas or whatever, and then it was part of the U.S. And so, but that whole region, that the throw everything in a pot with beans.
Oh yeah.
And cook it for a long time is that doesn't have roots outside of.
Yeah.
You literally cannot think of a classically American food that does not have roots outside of the U.S.
Right, yeah.
It's not possible. Yeah. They all do.
Except for chili.
Yeah.
And it's good. Like, I really do like well-made chili. That's why that part when in the office when he drops it is so sad.
Yeah, we were watching The Office on Sunday.
Yeah.
I was like remembering how spectacularly made it was.
I know, yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's a great show.
Yeah, I was just impressed because I hadn't watched it for. I mean, I haven't watched it through for like 4 years or 5 years or something. So it was just impressive watching it and be like, wow, this is really one of the funniest shows.
I know.
And then you've turned the kids on to SpongeBob. Thank God it's not Coco Melon anymore.
Oh, I know, yeah.
But I walk in and you're watching like the 3rd season of SpongeBob, and I remember being a kid when that was out.
Yeah.
And like I have like every single scene in line memorized.
Yeah. It's a great show.
It's so good
because it's something that I could watch.
They're watching, they're like I can think of something funnier than 24.
Yeah.
24. E25. I'm like remembering these scenes from the show, or like and they're blowing bubbles back and forth in the backyard. And
because it's gone through
Squidward's
cycles.
souffle soaking up bubble water and like.
So I have so many kids that they've just gone through cycles, and so like when the older ones were young, we watched like the little shitty kid shows, and then we went through a SpongeBob phase, and so I've already been to, this is my third SpongeBob phase.
Okay. And
so my older ones will watch SpongeBob.
They get old enough that they require more than just like psychedelic imagery of nothing.
And then I always turn that on, and they like it. So it's like SpongeBob and Family Guy are the ones that I like to show them, because it's like
Family Guy is not that bad most of the time.
It isn't, but Amanda kind of stopped me with the second group of Family Guy. I think with a third group of kids, I'm gonna do Family Guy again.
Good.
Yeah, because now I have someone to back me up.
Yeah,
he could sneak it in.
But Dad told me to. No, you have a co-conspirator.
Yeah,
who's
I do,
also a man.
Yep. Yeah. So it's gonna be good, because it's funny narratives. Like, if I'm gonna have to watch cartoons, I want to watch things that are actually
SpongeBob. I mean, SpongeBob's fantastic.
It is.
The first few seasons, especially.
I know. Yeah.
Up until the 7th season.
Yeah, the first 5 seasons I thought were the best.
Yeah, 6 is okay, 7 is okay, and then after that it
goes downhill.
Garbage, but
yeah, it's kind of but it's been good. I haven't heard Cocomelon for a long time.
It's so terrible. It's
know.
such a horrible, horrible show.
I know.
I never saw it at your house, but I'd watch it. I'm like, this is satanic.
I hate it
it's
so much.
It's demonically inspired.
I was like, turn it
on. It's
anti-human. And like walk away. I was like,
because I think you guys are all desensitized to it, but when I walk in, I'm like, this is an anti-human conspiracy.
Oh, yeah.
This hates love.
Yeah.
The show hates human interaction. It misunderstands it. Whoever created this show hates humanity. Nothing about the show is natural.
Yeah, I know. The
every adult I know hates it, and the fact that they're like, well, it gets kids to shut up. I'm like, well, you have satanic. Okay, Satan is shutting your kids up. Parent, good job, good for you.
If you think that's creepy, you should watch Baby Bum. That's even worse.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah,
kids shows are so bad now. Mm-hmm. I grew up with
You didn't have ones like that when we were kids.
No.
Yeah. They all had narratives. There was like Bugs Bunny cartoons when I was younger. And
I didn't even know what I had.
Yeah, you probably had like Tiny Toons.
When did Dora come out?
That was the 90s.
Yeah, I was like Dora. That's like Dora stuff.
That was still
and I was the Spanish immersion, so I spoke more Spanish than Dora had. But I was like, oh, I'm Dora because I speak Spanish too.
Yes, yeah. But, your generation also was that creepy purple dinosaur, right?
Barney.
Oh,
yes. Barney was a big one.
Yeah. Oh, and the really creepy one with a baby son.
Teletubbies.
Yes, yeah. That one is satanic. That one I can't watch.
I remember being really upset that Poe was a girl. The red one. I always really liked the tiny red one, but he was a girl. I was like, meh. Remember the tubby custard was a big deal. There was the vacuum. I'm like remembering Teletubbies right now. I don't know what the vacuum was called. And I remember I have this vivid memory of the scene. There was Tubby Toast or something. It was these little like round bread toasts. Yeah. I'm remembering this without literally having not seen it for like 25 years. But there were these little round toasts. And I remember the little Teletubby vacuum vacuuming up the toasts and being mad because I wanted to eat them. That's all I remember. That's the only thing I remember about Teletubbies.
Oh, so weird.
But I'm trying to remember what Dragon Tales was a big deal when I was like tiny.
I never heard of that
PBS.
Oh, okay.
It was some Mexican kids went to.
Yeah.
They'd have the little dragon scale and they'd like rub it and say "world away" or something. I don't remember the thing they'd say. And they'd go and there's like a big Mexican dragon.
Dragon Tales.
Like a bunch of other. It was like narrative based. I mean, it was cutesy and like low. It was lowbrow, but it was still.
Yeah.
It was still. Because that's the weird thing about SpongeBob is it's like not lowbrow. The humor is like not.
No, it isn't. Yeah,
it's like very sophisticated.
Yeah.
I think originally it was supposed to be an Adult Swim show.
Yeah,
They auditioned it a couple times for Adult Swim and they didn't take it.
Yeah.
And then they made it a kids show. But like the humor is 100% adult.
I know. Yeah.
Like timing wise. It's I mean, I'm not saying it's like obscene.
No, it isn't. But it kind of came after the generation when I was like a kid, like Ren and Stimpy and stuff. That was, that was you know, really bizarre.
So its DNA is there.
It is, yeah.
The scene where they're like sawing the wood.
Yes, yeah. There was
it's on like Stimpy's crotch.
Yes, yeah.
Like, it looks like anal.
There was another weird one. Yeah. What was it called? Beaver something.
Whoa.
Angry Beavers.
Angry Beavers. I've seen that.
Have you? Yeah.
That was when I was a kid.
Yeah, so that was the same generation of like SpongeBob and everything that
when
came
was
after.
That out? I feel like that was my thing.
No, that's what I'm saying. All of those shows were an outcome of Ren and Stimpy. So Angry Beavers was around the same time as SpongeBob, I believe.
Setting Waiata Town, Oregon.
They had very mature jokes in that. They even got high in one episode.
On something that beavers would get high.
Yeah. It was
97 to 2001. Yeah, I mean, it was when I was like a little kid.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All these things came after Ren and Stimpy, and so they had a lot of that same
DNA.
Yeah,
but they were toned
right.
down.
I think
they saw the success of the show, but the way that it was just.
There was another one in your generation too. It was like a cat and dog.
Cat dog.
Yeah, ass was like a cat face.
Well, no, it was both two-ended cat dog. Yeah,
that's bizarre. It was like this really bizarre.
Yeah, I watched Cat Dog all the time.
Yeah.
Man, I watched some weird shows.
And then there was that Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh, that's a disturbing show.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid being disturbed by that a couple times.
So there's a lot in your generation.
I know a lot of kids that were disturbed by that.
Yeah. Your generation had very interesting experimental cartoons.
Yeah, kid shows.
For kid shows, yeah.
Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy was one.
I never
Foster's
saw that
Home
one.
for Imaginary Friends was one.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
It's hot in Topeka.
Yeah.
And I quote these shows all the time in my adult life, having watched them 20 years ago.
Yeah. They were much more experimental and interesting, I thought.
Ed and Eddie?
Yes, yeah.
Like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
There's like, obviously, whoever's making Ed and Eddie had a foot fetish.
Your generation's much closer to Elijah's.
Yeah.
Because he never experienced Cocomelon generation. That was after him.
I know.
So yeah, a lot of these shows that he watched. What was the other one with which one had that weird platypus character?
Oh, Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah,
I viscerally hate that show.
Yeah.
That was after my.
Yeah, but
I was old enough to find that very annoying.
Yeah, but it was still like narrative form.
Yeah, it had a thing going on.
Yes.
There was a theme. There were characters that developed.
And it was bizarre.
Yeah.
Like it really wasn't.
It wasn't as bizarre.
It wasn't as
bizarre.
Dog. No, or Cat Dog or
Hey Arnold.
Cow and Chicken.
Yeah.
With IR Baboon. Yeah, there was.
There's one that I'm not remembering.
Yeah.
Rocco's Modern Life.
Late
90s kind of thing.
Yeah. So yeah, like the 90s and the early 2000s were very experimental.
Weird.
Yes, yeah.
Weird TV time. And all the live action like Nickelodeon shows that came after it were weird.
Yes, And I really do. I think I give a lot of credit to both Beavis and Butthead, and what was that? And
Ren and Stimpy.
Ren and Stimpy to kind of introduce that new genre of cartoons that didn't really exist before. Like, because when I was a kid, it was more like
He-Man.
Yeah, He-Man or Thundercats.
Thundercats, yeah.
And then there was like
which are still good. They're they're much more like straight-laced and
Ninja Turtles.
Stick-up ass kind of.
Yes, heroes and everything. And so I think I was like in 5th and 6th grade when Ren and Stimpy came out and Beavis and Butthead. And so I really got into it in my later adolescent years before I became a teenager and everything. And it was awesome. Like I loved it.
It's weird because I think that there was also kind of a golden age of stand-up comedy at the same time.
Yeah.
I think that in the late 90s and the early 2000s, it just got over the top. They went to, I know we've talked about that on the show before. I couldn't tell you where, but it's almost like people saw a market for children. Like kids get humor.
Yeah.
They understand it intrinsically. Like kids know what's funny.
Yes.
So they were like, why don't we just make stuff that's funny and then market it to kids?
Yeah, I think
Instead of like making the you watch an episode of He-Man and it's just very formulaic and obvious who's the bad guy, who's the good guy.
Yes, yeah.
It's like going to Sunday school almost.
Yes, yeah.
There's like some badassness to it, I guess. But like
yeah,
they were just like SpongeBob is like literally the kids get humor.
It's humor, yes.
Let's just make real humor.
Yeah.
Be not gross, like overtly gross, and just market it to kids.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. And I do think that that's what like the 90s children cartoons was.
Yeah. The late right now.
Yeah.
Because what? SpongeBob was like 97, 98.
Yeah, I think it was around the same time as the other ones.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was
Is that why young people don't have a sense of humor anymore?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I don't think they do.
Yeah.
It's a different
Yeah.
Their sense of humor is like making like referencing stuff.
Right.
It's like referential humor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Elijah was talking to me about that today because he loves like Family Guy. He loves all these older shows. It's weird that that's an older show now.
American Dad being an older show.
Yeah. But yeah, he was saying that he like talking to his friends. He was like, people don't have humor anymore. Like humor is dead. Yeah. And I really do think that's what.
Well, it's like I was watching news radio. It was like a 10-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been watching Office since he was a baby.
Yeah.
I remember when he was first born, like he like looked at it. He was like, when he heard the theme song, because I was watching it since he was like in the womb. Yeah. And so as soon as he came out, the theme song came out. He was like crying. He stopped crying. He was like, he turned his head. Like he finally gets to see what that song was.
And then he knows God.
Yeah. Yeah. The first joke he ever laughed at was from The Office. It was when Todd Packer came in. He was like, what do you say? Halpert, tall, queer, handsome as ever. Hey, everybody, it's me, Jim. And then he was like a year and a half. Something. He was like, he was like, yeah. But like he saw the tail end of all that like rugged humor that I think.
You saw the tail end of video games too, but
yeah, he did. Yeah,
tail end.
Yeah, yeah. But what we have like now with like my younger kids, they don't have any of that besides watching older shit. Mm. But they don't. Like I can't sit there and watch like fucking what's that stupid Ice Queen movie?
Frozen?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad. But it goes it's almost like a return to the didactic He-Man moralistic straight-laced thing, but it's wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because at least He-Man was like masculine and kicked ass.
Yeah.
It's like there's no ass kicking.
Frozen is maybe one of the worst movies ever made.
Yeah. There's no like.
Did you see Frozen 2?
No. I refuse to. I probably will eventually because one of my kids who is dear to my heart really wants me to watch it. And so.
Damn, I just have to guess. I think I know.
I might have to.
I know.
Yeah.
Actually, I know who it would be.
Yeah, she keeps asking me, so I might have to suffer through it just for her sake. But yeah, I can't stand it because
if you watch it, you'll see like it's just like a Jungian reverse archetype thing.
It's so stupid. It drives me mad because
there's natives, there's virtuous natives, there's virtuous natives and evil Europeans in it.
Like, is it? Yes, that's all.
Very obvious.
Yeah, and that's what like when I look at the 80s kids, either kids cartoons or even a lot of their action movies, it really was just formulaic. You had First Blood and Rambo, and that was not too formulaic because he was like a rebel in that sense. But then you had like Predator, and you had the Schwarzenegger just like kicking ass. Or you watch all those Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. Yeah. Everything was just like hyper masculine ass kicking, and it was something aspirational. It was like I want to aspire to be that badass.
I grew up with like my favorite childhood movie was well, I mean, Nacho Libre didn't come out until later, but that's my favorite childhood movie was Nacho Libre. Yeah. It came out with all these like Jack Black movies. Napoleon Dynamite was a big deal, and it's just like
because it had humor,
stupid, ironic, dumb.
Yes, yeah. But at least it was humorous.
Well, comedy was like really the best in the early 2000s.
It was. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Late 90s, early 2000s comedy movies were just beyond out there.
While I think like action was really phenomenal in the 80s.
So, yeah.
Like I still watch Die Hard, and I love fucking Die Hard.
It's my mom's favorite movie. Rocky and Die Hard are my mom's favorite.
I think Die Hard really is the best Christmas movie out there. Mm-hmm. It's just it's awesome. It's amazing, and so much good that I could say about
it. Also,
it.
it's like dripping in 80s aesthetic. That's just something I really appreciate about movies made in a time period.
Yeah.
And if I ever made movies or if I was ever like the set designer, I would want to include, it's like watching Columbo. If you watch an episode of Columbo produced in 1972, it's like the wall is wood paneling, the carpet is green, like emerald green, and the other wall is patterned, and everybody's got lapels that go out to their shoulders, and their ties are this wide, and their hair is insane. It's like every single detail was like chosen to make an episode of Columbo, a time capsule.
Yeah.
Die Hard has a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Like all the women's hair. All the women's hair is just literally, they're like, what is the most trendy and fashionable way we can have these people dress?
Yeah.
And then it just dates it immediately.
It's
like a historical document.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you watch, it's still good.
It is, yeah.
But just everything about it is extremely 80s.
Yeah. It's the same thing like with the first Terminator.
Oh, yeah. I mean the second one is still pretty good.
Yes, the second one's still pretty good. I do think it falls off after that.
Yeah,
but
of course. I mean, the second Terminator is kind of to me, the best one, the one I like the best. But
I actually would agree with you. I think it's objectively better than the first one.
That's one of Bill's favorite movies.
Yeah.
You know what Bill's favorite movie is?
What?
Is Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Oh, really?
Mel Gibson movie.
Yeah.
You guys could. Yeah, we should have him on again. He loves Mel Gibson.
Talk about Saint Mel with him.
I know.
Yeah, they're just it was just different, and I think what I find now, and just seeing the distinctions, like at least I was able to appreciate a lot of it, because I'm old enough now that I lived through the 80s and all that shit, through the 90s and all that shit, through the early 2000s, even through the mid 2000s. But the moment that it turned, I would say I think I saw the most difference in 2011, 2012. That's where I started to see,
even in music. 2012 and on.
Yeah, that's where I started to see the degradation to what it is now, which is just, it's just nonsense. It's just virtue signaling nonsense, and I don't. It's bad. Nothing is funny. The action is boring. They don't understand pacing.
Yeah.
Like the one movie I tell many people, it's like, you want to see a movie that has fantastic pacing? Yeah. It's the very first Mission Impossible. It's amazing. When you think of when you get off of the edge of your seat, it was that train scene. The whole movie was building up to that, right? And when I watch a Marvel movie, all of the graphics, everything is far superior than anything that had, but they have no build up. So it's almost like pre-ejaculation. It's like, well,
it's edging.
It is. And no, what it means is modern ones is a pre-ejaculation. It's like you just ejaculate early. While before it was like your
pre-ejaculate's the substance you
a little bit, yes,
before,
but what I mean is that
premature,
that's what I mean.
Pre-ejaculate, just like the clear stuff.
Premature ejaculation. Thank you. And so what you saw with these older movies, it was like this dramatic build up to this climax that you are just like, fuck, you just want to see it all happen, and then it reverts back to the beginning of the scene where Emilio Estevez shows him about the red light, green light, and he just says red light, he puts it on the helicopter and it blows up, and then he flies to the fucking train, and then the thing goes right up to his neck. I mean, it was so good, phenomenal. Like that whole scene is amazing. I
haven't seen that in a long time. That was the 90s, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It was so good, but the pacing through the movie just built you up to this scene, to this moment of drama. And then I remember when my friends wanted to really go see, I think it was, I haven't seen that many Marvel movies. The one that I saw in theaters was Thor
Ragnarok.
Yes. And so in the beginning scene, graphics, cinematography, everything phenomenal. There's no way that objectively...
Is that the arena fight scene thing?
Yeah, it was like with a devil or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like you see these scenes and it's like you cannot... Anybody that says that is not well made is lying. Mm-hmm. It's like it's phenomenal. You look at that, this is amazing. But when I see that, I was like, this should have been the final scene. The fact that you introduce me with that, it is like inserting your dick and ejaculating, and then the rest of the movie, everything's boring.
It's like foreplay.
Yes. I just fall asleep. Like I watch the rest of the movie, I'm just like, I wake up a little bit. Oh, it's like, oh, there's more action. Do you guys not have anything up you're a fucking ass.
Yeah.
Like you have nothing else interesting to show besides just continuous explosions, continuous motion of the cameras and everything. You know, all this shit is like, do something different, right? Build up to that. That's what makes an interesting narrative. But when you just start with that,
It'll be an interesting episode.
yeah.
Have you seen Spirited Away?
No, I've never seen that one.
What's your favorite movie?
It's hard for me to say
What's
what's my favorite.
the one that made you cry in theaters? The Hugh Jackman one, the Tree of Life one.
That's not my favorite movie.
Oh, what's your?
No, that's my favorite guilty pleasure.
Oh.
Where I could say that it's objectively a pretty bad movie,
But it just does something.
but I really do like.
We
that
should have each other watch our favorite movies and then do an episode on it or something. But
yeah, we could.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean the one that like it for me. I guess I would have to break it down to genres.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a favorite movie above all genres. Like you know, I could have like a. Or you could talk about comedy. I probably could narrow it down to some of my top favorite comedies.
It's probably the same for me. But.
Yeah, I mean, because it was my favorite action. I could definitely narrow it down. And what is that? Yeah, I think. Like I don't know if you constitute Mission Impossible as action, but that first.
I mean, obviously it's action.
But so some people would say it's a suspense rather than action, and so I don't.
I would kill anyone that said that.
Yes, yeah. But that's definitely on my top.
So you're saying thriller and horror. It's like
right, yes.
It's the same. It's sister genres that cross over all the time.
Exactly, yeah. So like I'll have different categories of what I would say. Because
action movies are thriller.
Because I also like Leon the Professional. Like I think that's one of the best action movies.
Of all time.
And so like it would be hard for me to pick and choose which one because there's so many that I would say are like my top 5 that I could really recommend to people. But yeah, like like watching Leon again was just was great.
So good.
Jean
Reno is so awesome.
Yes,
he is the. I don't know if anyone on Earth plays as complete a stoic action hero the way that Jean Reno does.
Yes, yeah.
The just in like troubled and with demons and you know carrying of suffering all the time.
I know, yeah.
He just does this like.
I know.
You've seen Wasabi?
Which one?
Wasabi.
No, I have not seen that one.
You should see that because it's him.
Is it? Yeah,
it's an action comedy kind of thing. It's a French
really
police
good.
officer finds out he has a daughter with a lost lover in Japan, and then it's just him going to Japan.
Okay, yeah.
And then Ryoko Hirosue, which is one of my favorite Japanese actresses of all time.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just a stupid shooter movie, but Jean Reno being
but it's good. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah,
I don't know where you probably get it on Amazon or something.
Probably. Because like with a professional, like I would have the same like excitedness that I described Mission Impossible with, where he just like, you know, the whole movie was building on, you know, it was training her, and then they had like this interesting like fatherly quasi romantic relationship.
Yeah.
But then like in the end blowout scene when the like the SWAT team and everything comes in there, I mean, it's just phenomenal. And then he sacrifices himself, he blows himself up. There's like the climax was like everything that built up to that. You cared about the characters. You cared what happened. You didn't want, you know, and so it was like that's marks of a good movie.
Yeah.
And I honestly would love for somebody to make a great action movie with a kind of technology
that we have now, with that kind of ethos.
Yes, yeah, with that kind of ability to narrate. Oh my gosh, it would be just mind blowing. I think. Yeah. Like if I could see something as a good narrative as a professional, but with the kind of like camera motion.
That's why Gone Girl was so good. I mean, I think that's the official favorite movie of Contra Gentile.
Yes, it's Gone Girl. Yeah, it's the same way. It was
it's
the build-up was just everything.
Literally, it's a movie from the 70s.
It is, yeah,
with current camera technology.
Yeah, current cinematography. The music was just.
It's very much like an old school narrative.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's
a movie that is willing to call women insane.
Yes,
in the way that it did.
Yeah. Like the one movie I wouldn't say is a spectacular movie, but that I'm hoping it goes in this direction was the new Top Gun.
Oh, you saw it?
Yeah.
Did you see it in theaters?
Yeah.
Who'd you go with?
Some of the kids.
Oh, okay.
I actually saw it twice. One time I saw it because I was bored, and was I in
some town?
Yeah, one of those towns.
Juneau or something.
Yeah. So I just went to the theater. But then I liked it. I was like, wow, I want to show my kids this. And so
I've heard it's like an old school
it is
action movie.
But at the same time, they have the new technology.
Yeah.
And so it was like, it was awesome.
Yeah.
You know, like it could be a better story. It could be other things that are better about it, better acting, whatever. But I was so pleased watching it because it was like, this is what movies should be. You know, rewatching The Rock with the kids, you know, with Nicolas Cage. It was amazing. Yeah. It was like the same thing. Like they have these proper forms of narrative. Like Jerry Bruckheimer was a really good producer. I know in the late 90s it became silly to like Bruckheimer and what's the other guy? Bay. Michael Bay. Yeah. It just became like, oh, you're just like Bay explosions. But then when you rewatch them, you're like, yeah, but
he's good.
Look what they do now. Yeah. This is so much better. Like it's so much better to watch Bad Boys than it is to watch any of the contemporary like Marvel action movies. It was like, no, he got it at least. No, he understood it. You watch Enemy of the State with Will Smith. He understood narrative. It's not the best movie. I'm not going to sit there and be like, man, this deserves an Oscar. This is fantastic. No, but it's entertaining. Yeah. I could sit there. I could watch the whole fucking thing and not fall asleep.
Yeah, or get bored.
Or get angry. Yes.
Yeah, I haven't watched a movie in a long time.
Yeah. But the ones you do watch, you like, and you like good ones. And the reason why you don't get bored of them because they're actually well made. But yeah, modern movies, most of them put me to sleep.
I'm trying to remember what the name of that documentary on Netflix is. Not the one, not the one you like, but just Keep Sweet is the documentary about the fundamentalist Mormon.
Oh, okay.
FLDS fundamentalist Latter-day Saints or something. Is the extreme polygamy.
Oh, right, yeah.
Group, you know, the fundamental.
Yeah.
Which I guess is true to original Mormonism.
Yes,
is polygamy, and you know he's got 65 wives, and then his son inherits some of his, and then ends up with 87 wives or something, 82 wives.
That's insane.
Insane. Yeah, but you should watch that because it's pretty well made. It's like 4 episodes or something. I'm watching Wild Wild Country.
Yes.
Do you want to do an episode on that? You think you like it enough that you'd be willing to do an episode on it?
Yeah. I would just rewatch it. It's entertaining, so.
It would be an interesting thing to do because it's very well made.
It is. It's one of the best documentaries.
What's weird is my family, all of my mom's family is from Oregon, around Portland, in the same time period.
Oh,
so
really?
I'm remembering stories they would tell me about communes, and I'm like, oh, like connecting dots and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I remember when, because all that, at least the parts in the 80s and everything, like I remember the poisoning, what was that?
The bioterror attack in 84 or something.
Yeah.
Where you remember it being discussed.
I remember it being discussed,
You were 2 years old,
of course, I remember being discussed, and but
it's weird. It's weird that like I have extreme. My dad's family, my grandfather, my dad's side was FAA, so he was all over the place.
Oh yeah.
So he doesn't really have ties there. But my mom's family is all from Oregon.
Yes, yeah.
And it's weird watching old people talk from Oregon.
Yeah. Because it reminds you of that.
Well, they all have an accent. There's an Oregon way of talking.
Yeah.
From that area, and I didn't really realize that until I'm listening to all these people talking. I'm like, oh, they sound like my grandparents, my great uncles and aunts and stuff. Because this is just how they talk. And, you know, my grandfather's telling stories about like, oh yeah, my brother had a farm or a ranch or something, and then you know the hippie commune moves in.
Yeah. Nice.
And then his chickens start disappearing, but the hippies won't admit to the but then all the chickens are gone, and the hippies won't admit that they're stealing the chickens and stuff. And he's telling stories about how much he hates hippies, and I'm like, oh, this is what he means by hippies.
Yeah,
these people.
And what year did the Bhagwan got caught?
I don't know. I haven't.
I can't remember it. Okay.
I haven't finished it yet, but
yeah.
I watch stuff slowly, but
no, but that's
probably the mid late 80s.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, it was such a, I don't know, like a lot of it just childhood to me. Like it's the same thing like David Koresh that happened in the earlier 90s and everything. It's just like there's so much There was like this weird arc in the late 80s that I remember leading up to like the Oklahoma bombing.
Yeah.
Then to the David Koresh, to everything that was just like,
it's weird.
It's weird.
It's weird that I have I remember all these stories being told about hippies in Oregon. I'm like, oh wait, there were actual like organized groups colonizing this part of Oregon.
Yep.
I didn't realize he wasn't just talking about hippies. He's literally talking about these people went to Oregon.
Yes, yeah.
They're talking about like Bill Bowerman and stuff, like the Nike guy. And I'm like, my grandfather knew him.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's weird.
Yeah. He just took over this land. And, I mean, they're incredible people, though.
Oh, I know.
When you think of like what they built so quickly.
I know.
It's amazing.
Yeah, we should do an episode on it.
Yeah.
Maybe not next week. Maybe the week after that or something. But
yeah.
Maybe next week.
Yeah, next week.
Should we do it next week?
Yeah.
Or you can rewatch it in Netflix.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll do Wild Wild Country on Netflix.
Yes.
Like, so it was 2018.
Yeah, I think it was 2018. Yeah.
We're just covering everything made in 2018. Let's cover all of it. Anyway, are we good?
Yeah, I think so.
Got a couple hours.
Mm-hmm.
You want to say bye?
Sure.
And then switch the thing over?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.